I wanted to comment on the issues which were related to the last teacher strike. We were successful, and we want to thank KNUT. We are very grateful to KNUT for not joining us in that strike, so that people can no longer say we always hang on the coats of KNUT, the tail of KNUT. We can stand on our own, and we can paralyze schools in this country. And I believe there might be another opportunity next year. If we will not get a salary increase, surely we need to do something. If we will not get money for promotion, surely we may be called upon to do something even next year. Now that we have known, we have to master. I know the government is trying to deal with us because they have already stopped the union dues, but I'm happy that we are still surviving, but it's provided for in the law, and we need to get that. So, JSS, we were able to confirm. In our agreement, we also signed that 20,000 new teachers will be recruited, new recruitments, about 20,000 for JSS. So that one is already captured in our return to work to formula, which we signed and deposited in court. We did also agree that we need to review the CPG, because this CPG was sabotaged. There were positions which were created, right from the principal, the deputy principals, the senior teachers, the HODs, and class subject heads. It was there in that CPG, but it was not funded so that we could have senior teachers in all schools. The minimum number of senior teachers in a school was expected to be about 5. So we should be having in each school teachers promoted to C5, at least 5 of them as senior teachers. That one was not funded, it was sabotaged. And that's why we are saying we better go back to the schemes of service. And that's why we are calling for review of the CPG. The other issue which we are currently dealing with is working on memorandum of demands, because next year we must sign with Teacher Service Commission a new CPA. And that's why we are calling upon you to give us proposals which should be included in that CPA. One of those one, I believe, must be a salary increase, which should be a minimum of 100% salary increase, because the salary has stagnated for so long. We are not able to buy anything with the current salaries. And we are saying the salary needs to be increased substantially to take care of the inflation and to ensure that teachers do not continue to be embarrassed because of the purchasing power problems. So many teachers have committed suicide because of financial problems. So we are saying a salary increase is going to be a must in the next CPA. We are also saying something called standing allowance. You know, we must have something which is specific to teaching profession. There is a standing allowance. This is the only profession which delivers as is standing, as one is standing. When you are teaching, you know, I'm a teacher of mathematics. When you are doing those calculations on the board, you must be on your feet. You cannot sit on a chair and deliver as a teacher. That is an allowance which is very unique to the teaching profession, standing allowance. We must be given a standing allowance. Something very good, because this is a very strenuous job. Others are asking for extraneous allowances, and they are given, but we are yet to be given any extraneous allowance. And we are saying standing allowance must be in our pay slips. Are we supporting that idea of standing allowance? Then there is also the issue of promotion, because many of us are so frustrated. They are hopeless with the teaching profession, because they have been in the same job group for 15 years. Some have been in the same job group for 10 years. Some have only been in the same job group for 3 years, and because of that demand for promotion, maybe one went for a loan, you went to TSA and bought the promotion or something. That should never happen in this teaching profession. There should be integrity. And that's why we are saying we require funding of promotion. And that's why we must capture this issue of promotion. Are we supporting that idea? Yes. Then there is also what we call the science teacher's allowance, which we have baptized it as detoxification allowance. Some of you teaching chemistry, you handle very dangerous chemicals, and you need to be compensated for that, because as you retire, you will discover that you are having health challenges related to handling those chemicals. And that's why we are saying detoxification allowance must also be introduced. Are we supporting that? Yes. And then Nairobi is normally paid a higher house allowance. In fact, you can easily discover that Nairobi is easier to get a house in Nairobi than in some parts of this country. And that's why we are saying we need to have the house allowance between Nairobi and other regions be harmonized. Just imagine of a teacher in Turkana. Where will they get a house to stay in that desert? It is very hard. They will have to struggle to get a house, a suitable house for a teacher. And therefore, a good, an harmonized house allowance will assist in that endeavor. So we are pushing for an harmonized or an increased house allowance. Are we supporting that idea? Yes. Then the other house, of course, is the issue. Maybe I can have that one. What's this one? I think it's not working. The other issue is on the special duty and acting allowance. Many are acting as principals. Many are qualified to be principals and they are not being compensated. Those ones deserve what is called special duty allowance, and that needs to be paid. Many are acting as deputies. They need to be compensated. Many are acting as senior teachers in their schools. They need to be compensated. And that's why we are saying special duty stroke acting allowance needs to be captured in the next CPA. Are we supporting that idea? Then there's also the issue on, I think we have already agreed that the chair says we accept teacher mobility, that we accept to either teach in JSS or senior secondary school to increase opportunities for administration so that you can be in charge of these stations. We are also condemning the Kenya National Examination Council for underpayment of all those who are handling exams, right from the principals to the examiners. They are really underpaid. Can you imagine a situation where a principal is given 500 shillings as a lunch allowance? Surely no probation, no other probation can accept 500 shillings as a lunch allowance. What is being paid to teachers by Kenya National Examination Council is peanuts, and we are rejecting. The JSS teachers, you have raised your issues to do with Kenya National Examination Council. We will champion them. You must be paid for marking the Kenya National Examination Council related exams. That one, we will articulate your issues to ensure that you are paid. So otherwise, we are expecting you to make proposals. We have said per diem allowance as provided for in SRC circular must be paid for co-curricular activities. We are also pushing for those funds related to co-curricular activities to be either transferred to KESHA or the Teachers Service Commission directly handle it, so that the people in the ministry do not misuse it. Because if you are to see those who are going to attend events internationally, these co-curricular activities, you will find it's only the Ministry of Education officials. No, very few teachers, 1 or 2 are sponsored, and they are not even given adequate per diem allowance. So we want that to be reviewed so that it can go direct to either Asia or the Teacher Service Commission to start paying per diem in co-curricular activities, just like any other employer. I also want to comment on the proposed amendments to the legal environment in which we are operating in. There are proposals to amend the Basic Education Act. And there are also proposals, there is already draft bills to amend the Teacher Service Commission Act. Some of these amendments are not pro-teachers. In fact, they are anti-teachers. They are even proposing to adjust the number of offenses which a teacher can face from the current, I believe, currently is around 16, 18, to about 22 offenses, which gives an impression in the mind of Teacher Service Commission, a teacher is a criminal. So you must come up with so many offenses in order to tackle the teacher. Imagine adjusting the offenses in the TSE Act from 16 to 42, including even reducing to supervise NEC exams as if you are employed by NEC. Those ones are now captured in that law, and we are opposing them. We are telling them the teachers are not criminals for you to create so many offenses in the Act. There is also this idea of introducing in both the TSE Act Amendment and Basic Education Act Amendment the idea of administrator over school. You know, the Ministry of Education has always been keen to be in charge of finances, and they want to introduce through these amendments a position called administrator. As a classroom teacher, you are struggling to ensure that you also rise to that position of a principal. And by the time you are in that position, you will discover that the person who is in charge of the funds is no longer the principal, it is an administrator. Those are captured in these 2 amendments. And we are saying in the teaching world, in schools, the senior-most person, the accounting officer will always be a principal. You cannot have the bursar to become an administrator of a school and be in charge of accounting for finances. That one we are rejecting. Are we rejecting that issue? That will be defined by teachers.
Kusukisa